Good morning and welcome to In the Kitchen with Pen. Now, regular browsers of our Facebook page may know that Steve has been looking for a proper minced beef pie to go with pie and mash. Now, I've made them before in the past and he's liked them, but we're going to have another go today and well, come on down and see the ingredients. Right, so I've got the mince into the pan. I've broken it down. I've just about covered with water. I've added in some white pepper and a good pinch of salt. This is really strange, boiling mince. It's like something I've never done before, but hey ho. And now we're going to go in with this. This is great. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me, that pepper. Sorry about that. This is gravy browning. Okay, something your mums and your grands might have used. So I'm going to go in with a drop or two of gravy browning. You've seen me use it before when I've been making onion gravy. If you haven't got gravy browning, you could use a stock cube. That's perfectly acceptable. But don't forget, if you're using a stock cube, you're actually adding in more salt. So just be aware of that. Okay, now we go over to the hob. Right then, I'm going to switch the hob on and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Once it's boiling, I'm going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes and then let it cool before we put it into our pastry. And that strange looking lot in there is our filling done. So onto the pastry. Now the pastry for a traditional London pie that goes with your pie mash and liquor is a pastry of two parts. You have a suet crust pastry on the bottom and you have a puff pastry lid. So I'm not going to make my own puff pastry. If shop bought puff pastry is good enough for the chefs, let me tell you, it's good enough for this household. However, I don't believe that you can buy ready-made suet crust pastry. Not that I think I'd buy it anyway because it's so easy to make. So I'm going to make it myself. So if you come on down, I'll show you what we're doing. Right then, when making a suet crust pastry, you need to keep your measurement half fat to self-raising flour. Must be self-raising flour. So my fat in this case is beef suet. So in this bowl I have 3 ounces of beef suet and I have 6 ounces, double the amount of self-raising flour. I've added a little salt and now I'm just going to gradually add in some cold water. Your water really does need to be cold to make good pastry. I'm going in with a spoon and in a minute I'm going to go in with my hands because I can get a better feel for the pastry. As I've said in the past, cold hands are good for making pastry. If you haven't got cold hands, then run your pulse points on your wrists underneath the cold tap. That will help cool your hands down. Right, so we're just bringing this all together. And what we want is we want to actually clear and clean the bowl of pastry. Oh, I put a little bit too much in then. Okay. Right, can you see what I mean? We've cleaned the bowl of the pastry. Right, and then like any good pastry, it will need to rest. And so to rest this pastry, I'm just going to pop it onto some greaseproof, that's the fib, some cling film. I'm going to plug it, flatten it out just a little, and then I'm going to cover, completely make sure it's covered, and then it goes into the fridge just like that. Tommy Cooper there, just like that, to chill for a minimum of 30 minutes. This is going to be in there for a good while because my mince is still cooking, obviously. Take it out about 10-15 minutes before you want to roll, because it needs to come up to a room temperature so that you can roll it more easily. Well, we've done filling, we've done pastry. Now the important thing is the pie dish. In a traditional pie and mash shop, you wouldn't get a round pie, you wouldn't get a piece of pie, you would get an oblong pie. So we bought some proper pie dishes from a pie and mash shop. You could use foil ones, that's fine, but obviously these are completely reusable. Now I've put in enough mince there to make 2 pies for Steve, so I need to make sure that the pastry isn't going to stick. What do? Butter, oil? Nah, I'm going to use lard. So I'll just show you how we do this. Right, I've got some lard on the paper there, and I am just going to be quite generous. And don't forget the tops here, because the pastry will go over that and we don't want it to stick. So we're just going to put lard in both of these, and then, strangely enough, these are going to go in the fridge too, because it will give the lard time to harden and set up, if you like, on the dishes. And I will just tell you, I've had a terrible time trying to find these dishes. I looked everywhere, and then I suddenly thought, oh, I wonder if they're there. Yeah, they were there. Oh, where's there? The oven. Anyway, so these are now greased up, so they're going to go into the fridge too. Right, we're a few hours later. My pastry has chilled. The meat filling has cooled. So we need to roll out the pastry. So firstly, I'm going to start by popping some flour onto the work surface. Right, work surface floured. So I'm just going to pop the pastry down, and I'm just going to make sure that it's well coated in flour. If you remember, I said I'd added just a little bit too much water, but it wasn't an issue because I could sort that. And sort it I have. So now I have mentioned this frying pan, what's it called, this rolling pin before. Can you see that I've got a couple of discs there? They help you roll out the pastry to the exact thickness that you want. And today I'm doing it to 1/8 of an inch. You've got the red one's even smaller. Then you have the green one, which is 6 mil or 1/4 inch. And the blue ones, which are 10 mil or 3/8 of an inch. So it just really helps you to roll out your pastry to the thickness that you need, really. So we're just going to roll this out, do it a 1/4 turn, roll and a 1/4 turn each time. Put a little bit more, this is pastry, a little bit more flour down. Quarter turn. And we're just going to keep doing this until our pastry is as we want it. Right, the pastry I know is at the exact thickness that I want, because the rolling pin is actually touching at both ends. We're not up one end or the other. They are both exactly the same. So now we need to line our baking tins. So obviously I've got lots of pastry here, so I'm just going to pretty much cut it in half. Try going right through the pastry, it helps. Okay, and then I have the tin, and I'm going to let the pastry just fall into the tin. Okay, right. And we'll do the same with the other side. Just fall into the tin, lift. Can you see what I'm doing? Just lifting it up and letting that pastry fall there. Right, I'm not going to waste any of this pastry because I'm going to trim it now. If you wanted to make sure it went right into each little crevice, roll up a ball of pastry like so and just use that to push into the corners. This is especially good if you're lining a fluted tart case to do that. Right, and then we're going to trim, and we're just using a sharp knife and cutting off the excess pastry. And this is what I say about making sure you have greased the edges of your pie tin. So cut down there, that's it. Right, there you go, 2 pie cases, bottom pastry case done. Well, now we need to fill our pie cases, and we're just going to pop in. Got plenty of meat here actually, I could probably do 4, but I don't have the room to freeze, so push down a little, make sure you've got plenty of the meat filling. And remember, this is purely meat. It's minced beef, it's a 5% minced beef. I don't think I told you that I was using that, with salt, white pepper and gravy browning, and that is all it is. So yeah, looking at that, I could have potentially done 3, but not to worry. Okay, got enough, so let's be generous. Although if I'm too generous, Steve probably won't be able to eat it. So right, pastry cases filled. Now we go to our puff pastry, and our puff pastry has already been pre-rolled. So again, take it out about 10 minutes before you're going to use it. Okay, you can just give it, if you're worried that it's cracked a little, just give it a quick roll and it will sort itself out. Now for the lids, I can use another of these just as a very rough guide, and I'm just going to go round 1 and 2. Oops, that one's a bit close, but I know there's more than enough room there, so that's fine. Right, to stick the 2 pastries together, just going to use some water, and I'm going to brush round the edges of the suet crust pastry, just like so, and then take our puff pastry and sit it on top, and we're going to squeeze down to make sure we have a good seal between the 2 pastries. And once I'm happy that I've got a good seal there, out's coming my knife again, and we're just going to trim off the excess. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the other pie. One thing you do need to do is to cut a little hole in the top of your pastry, just a little cross, so that the steam can come out. Otherwise you're going to end up with a very soggy top, and you don't want that. Right, so you just literally do your fingers all the way around, and there you go. That's it. These are now ready to bake. You can give them an egg wash if you like, but they're going to be served upside down. Nobody's going to see how pretty the egg wash might look, are they? So that is how easy it is to make these pies. You'll be back when they're cooked. Right then, it's time to cook these pies. I've got the silver crest oven preheating at 190. I'm going to bake the pies for about 30 minutes. Now, before baking, I've got a little spray bottle here just filled with water, and I'm just going to spray the surface of the pies, and then they're going straight in. I'll turn them part way through cooking so that they cook evenly, and then it'll be time to eat. Right then, we've got a minute to go, so I have mashed the potato, and again, traditionally this potato wouldn't have any butter or any milk in it, so that's what we've done. No butter, no milk. And they kind of do this when it goes onto the plate. It just sort of like sits on the edge of the plate, like, well, like that. I've also made a parsley sauce. I say a parsley sauce, it's traditionally known as a liquor, and that will go over the pie and mash too. So we're just waiting on those pies to finish cooking. And we are almost, yes, we are almost done. What they say about the best laid plans, one of them stuck quite badly, the other one has come out fine. Okay, so now on with the parsley sauce. Parsley sauce, liquor, call it what you want. This will have vinegar added at the table, but I'm hoping a certain man is going to approve of homemade minced beef pies, mash and liquor. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a like. If you'd like to subscribe, click on our picture here. If you want to see more videos of what we get up to, click here. Thanks for watching. Bye.